Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, one and all, to another KoishCasts. Today, got a nice little game to do. I've just literally been sat in front of my computer since the DRX Dan1 Best of 5 at Worlds quarterfinals, where Dan1 just completely obliterated DRX. I was hoping it to take a bit longer because what I've just been doing is just staring at my computer, waiting for Life to end, basically, or for tomorrow's games to start. And I thought, you know what? Let's just do a cast in between. Because you know how we are. We always like to do a bit of work in between. So what do we got? Well, in the top lane we've got an Irelia versus a Renekton. In the jungle we've got a Trundle versus a Nidalee. In the middle lane we have an Aurelion Sol versus a LeBlanc. And in the bottom lane, if I can just get all this out of the way nice and quickly for you all, yeah. And in the bottom lane, we have an Ezreal Lulu against a Jinx Blitzcrank. Let's just swap these two people around, by the way, just so then that all works out nicely. Okay, so let's talk about the matchups. Although, okay, so the red team has a Blitzcrank, so they're looking to have an early invade, and if Blitzcrank's lucky, he might actually get something here. Whoop! Nope. Went long. Oh, but Renekton's gonna walk right on top of Trundle. Trundle's just been buffed on this patch, by the way. Oh my god, Trundle could be caught out here. Good stun from the Irelia. Now, it's probably worth noticing that a lot of the players here have taken really weird first abilities that you usually wouldn't take as your first starting ability in lane. So the Irelia's taken her stun, her E ability, I think it's called her Flawless Duet. And whilst it was good for catching out the Renekton there, or the LeBlanc, just stunning her there, it's actually pretty bad in lane because it applies one of the marks that allows you to Q to a champion, and that's what makes it so impressive in lane. But from level 1, when you don't have your Q, it's really not that great. You saw her as well, but LeBlanc took her chains, her E, which generally speaking is the third ability you want to take. Usually not the ability you want to prioritize. And the Aurelion Sol, you can make some argument about going Q or W, but W is good because it means that you're able to shove out the wave a bit nicer, make a bit of room and then roam. But the Q is also a pretty fine ability to take as well. So we won't say that Aurelion Sol took the wrong ability, but I think there's definitely some case to be made for the Irelia and the LeBlanc there. So anyway, let's talk about matchups. I think the most oh, nice little trade here for the Aurelion Sol. He hits his not Thunderlords. I never call it Thunderlords unless I'm doing a cast. Electrocute. Like I said though, LeBlanc took her E first, so she hasn't been able to get any lane prior there. That's good for my Aurelia. Nice little stun. Does have a Q, so it's probably just didn't go in for a quick poke of Renekton and then Q out again. Irelia, if she hits her stun, can have a really nice trade pattern, like really impressive and one-sided, if she hits her Flawless Duet. But it looks like that's not the case. I said I was going to go over matchups. I think we'll start off in the mid lane because I think it's the easiest one. I think LeBlanc should win this in terms of damage. Aurelion Sol's all he's want to do is just shove out the lane. I think the Aurelia's lost her Q reset because she used it early there, yeah. So LeBlanc should be able to, at least in the earlier levels, be able to match and potentially burst out the Aurelion Sol. The Aurelion Sol's actually take a barrier just in case that's a possibility. This is a lot of damage here from the LeBlanc. I think Aurelion Sol's dead, yeah. So that's the threat that LeBlanc can have very easily if she's able to hit her abilities. Well, that's a weird little stun from Irelia. She could be in some big trouble here. If Renekton did eat, if he'd slash and I'm now forgetting every single ability name, but Slice and Dice, Renekton's E. If he'd used that twice there on Nidalee, or Irelia even, he probably could have got the kill. As it is, Irelia could have this. Nidalee's just speared the minion. I think if she had her Q available, or the flash for flash is fine, Trundle should be able to pick up a kill here. He does. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, things are getting interesting. The Jinx has been taken low. This flash forwards there from the Lulu seems a bit ambitious. Yep, she's just immediately capitalized on. Good hook and knockout from the Blitzcrank. Meanwhile, in mid lane, the duel continues. Aurelion Sol just using his W to try and continue pushing out this wave and harassing the LeBlanc. So what Aurelion Sol wants to do in the mid lane is just shove that wave over and over again by using his W and Q as wave clear. Obviously his stars are his passive, so they continuously, it's like an almost endless spell that is continuously going on, that he can't turn off, right? So that means that he's able to push out really nicely, whilst LeBlanc has a lot more kill pressure in lane than an Aurelion Sol does. Aurelion Sol is much better in like a farm lane, like something like Ziggs, or even in Azir to some extent. He's not so strong into something like a LeBlanc, who can harass him and capitalize on his low mobility and his low health threshold early. Top lane, I think, is probably a bit of a skill matchup. In terms of ease of execution, Renekton's probably easier to immediately execute upon. But Irelia obviously has a very high skill ceiling, I think higher than Renekton's, and can make some big outplays, so we'll see what can be done in that matchup. Trundle versus Nidalee. Nidalee's very meta at Worlds right now, and she's generally speaking paired up pretty often with Renekton because of the setup Renekton can have. Renekton's going in right now, he hit the empowered W. Yeah, the Irelia probably just wants to leave. That is a bit much because she hasn't got her Q cooldown, but she does have, I was about to say she does have a passive, but the Renekton just uses his Q, gets rid of the Irelia nice and easy. It was weird of Irelia to go back in there because that didn't look like a good opportunity to do so. Nidalee with this comp is fine. LeBlanc is okay at stunning people up using her E or keep people in one place, same with Renekton with his W, and to some extent Blitzcrank and Jinx as well. I wouldn't say it's a perfect comp for Nidalee, but it's probably the best you're going to get on in solo queue, to be honest with you. Jesus. Now LeBlanc has hit level 6, so she now wants to go really aggressive on the Aurelion Sol, and she can do. Asol doesn't want to push up as much anymore, which can be problematic, because that's all he's really that good for other than roaming. We haven't talked about the bot lane matchup much, but that's because the Ezreal Lulu lane is really safe, and probably won't be able to be engaged upon unless the Blitzcrank is able to hook the Lulu. Whilst the Jinx Blitzcrank lane, whilst not very aggressive, is more aggressive than an Ezreal Lulu. Ezreal Lulu are both very safe champions. Ezreal's E is a very direct counter to Blitzcrank's Q, the rocket grab. Oh! The hook actually hits from Blitzcrank. That went a bit of a mile, but he's not going to be able to get anything more out of that. A lot of harass comes around, more goes on to the Lulu. And the two ADCs turn up and the supports disengage. But that was actually quite a nice hook. Oh, Asol could be in some trouble here if LeBlanc... Oh, if he hit his ultimate there, the Breath of Light from the Aurelion Sol, I think he could have actually gotten the LeBlanc there. As it is, Trundle, he's now trading onto Nidalee in the river, but the red side is going to get there first. The red bot lane, Blitzcrank's now arriving to deal with the Trundle. The Jinx actually stopped moving. Oh, LeBlanc decides to turn it onto the Aurelion Sol and gets a good kill. Meanwhile, here comes Trundle to clean up the mess. He'll pick up the last kill. Meanwhile, Ezreal has somehow walked into a complete, quite a bit of trouble here. Yeah, and down goes the Lulu to the Jinx as well. A lot of weird things happening on the map. A lot of abilities being used from the Irelia here. The Renekton's had some pretty poor positioning. He flashes forwards. He secures that kill onto the Irelia. So a lot of kills just went over on the red side there. And I mean a lot. The only... Oh, Trundle, he flashes forwards. He's going to get one. He might be able to get two here. Red buff is applied. He gets the bite on. I think he's going to get Blitzcrank as well. Yeah. So Trundle just got 3 kills. And everyone else on his team got basically nothing. I don't know how Ezreal and Lulu became that detached from one another and that far apart and managed to both get caught out individually. But that is what happened. Which is why I assumed the red team would come out miles ahead here. The only person who dropped, at least at first, was LeBlanc to the Trundle. Oh, Jesus, no. You don't want to trade on this. You don't have your Q. It's becoming trouble now, but this LeBlanc is able to burst out this Aurelion Sol so consistently. It's happened a couple of times now, at least with the burst, and Aurelion Sol can't trade on as well. What Asol needs to do to get some control back over this matchup is shut out mid lane as hard as possible. Because LeBlanc isn't so good. That's an awful flash. Oh, he's just walked right into Nidalee. But he hasn't. Weirdly, Nidalee's doing no damage to him, but she should have some now. LeBlanc comes out over the wall. Does she have the chain? She doesn't need them. Nidalee will make sure she takes care of that. Yeah, the only way Aurelion Sol's going to come out on top... My god, Trundle though, he might be able to get something done here. Oh my god! So the pounce from Nidalee actually put her between the Trundle and wall, but she was quite scared, but Trundle would still be able to get her. So she flashed it. That's probably the right move. Probably a bit too aggressive invade there. If Aurelian Sol wants to win this matchup, what he's got to do is shove out mid and then just roam to the side lanes, because he's, right now, this LeBlanc is flooring him in this mid lane. He can't do anything. He's not tanky enough yet. He's brought a non-magic mantle. I don't think that's going to be enough yet. Ezreal just happily missing every single ability. Whilst Blitzcrank happily clears out a ward on the top side. Jinx is alright. So, it's already looking pretty dodgy. 10 minutes in, it's looking pretty bad for the blue team already. The only person on their team who's ahead really is Trundle. Trundle did get buffed this patch, but it's not a gargantuan buff. Jesus. And he's had actually very little to do with the side lanes. Sorry, I'm just yawning. He's had very little to do on the side lanes. All of his kills are from just picking up the odd one or two people here and there, basically just walked into his river. Like there, he isn't really trying to stop LeBlanc doing whatever she wants to do, he just wants to be wherever he wants to be. Italy hits her spear. Trundle might be able to trade onto this. Here comes the LeBlanc bow, a good dodge out of the chains. Aurelian Sol coming through, I think they might be able to get this. Aurelian Sol does manage to get the Nidalee, but LeBlanc manages to get the Trundle. Now Aurelian Sol applying the red buff. I think this is a pretty optimistic teleport from the Irelia, because as we just saw, LeBlanc is just able to W away, and it looks like she's getting pinged a lot for that one. Meanwhile, so where's actually winning for the blue team? Nowhere. Nowhere's winning. I suppose the most optimistic is probably bot lane. Like mid lane, Aurelian Sol's doing fine, but he's been burst out over and over again. Top lane, Irelia is just losing up to Renekton. Bot lane is fine, but as we said, it's safe. And the moment I say that, Lulu gets hooked in. This should be a kill onto the Jinx. The Jinx does get up with the Super Mega Death Rocket, and now they're on the run because in comes Aurelian Sol, but he's slow and he puts his Q really in the wrong position entirely. Trundle's here as well, but he's also late to the party. And now we've got three in the blue side all gathered up into the bot lane, but they haven't got anything done. And now Trundle's headed off, Aurelian Sol's backing, and he might as well have not come in the first place. Meanwhile, top side, this tower might well drop down very soon to Renekton. Whilst Nidalee is just taking complete control over Trundle's blue side. It's just not working out for them at all. So what Aurelia's done here is she's rushed into a ninja. This is a tiny little face. It's never going to work out. The Renekton's a bit too ahead. Oh, I think you might actually get a kill on this. Yeah, the Renekton just misplayed that pretty badly. But well played by the Aurelia to actually keep herself alive. What was I going to say? So the Aurelia's got ninja tabbies. Not an awful idea when considering... Jesus, Aurelian Sol's really going aggressive here. I don't think he needs to go this crazy for it. Oh. Preemptive barrier doesn't really do anything. Trundle now trying to get something done on Nidalee. I think he might be able to do it as well. He drops the ult. He's going to very slowly hack away, but Nidalee, of course, does... A great flash for the Trundle. Gets him onto the other side of the blast cone and has him blast over alongside Nidalee. He only needed that one last extra auto attack, but it really was all the difference there. That was really cool. I like that from Trundle. I mean, it's a bit of a waste, but at the same time... Oh my god, Renekton is now teleporting top just because he's seen Trundle put the Herald out there, which is so dumb. Like, I don't think he needed to do that. And obviously mid lane, I didn't talk about it at all, but a 1-for-1 just occurred in the mid lane where Lulu dropped in exchange for LeBlanc. It's pretty worth for blue team in that situation. I mean, it's better to get rid of a mid laner over a support. But you've got to consider that this LeBlanc's getting pretty strong now. The ninja tabbies on Irelia, I got distracted. The reason that this is somewhat... It's not the worst idea in the world. Obviously, Renekton is an auto attack, somewhat base champion that will reduce the amount of damage you're taking from his AD. Because it obviously gives you armor and it reduces the damage from auto attacks. But you've got to consider the rest of the team that's coming in. Oh my god, Trundle making the big brain play. He goes in, he actually gets the dragon. Nidalee drops down to Aurelian Sol. Now Jinx, she's on the run. I think this should go down to Ezreal, goes down to Lulu. Oh, but here comes LeBlanc. She's managed to hit her chain. She's going a bit crazy. Trundle now on the run. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get anything done. He decides to turn it onto LeBlanc. He might actually be out of here. I think he is. The phase rush makes him so fast, and this should be a death onto Blitzcrank. The Irelia is now here as well, but she keeps making this awful mistake where she Qs before putting down her E. That's unfortunately not how that works. If you want to get the reset, you either have to kill the target or go on something that you've marked with your E or R after you've marked them. Meanwhile, Renet has just been sat top lane after teleporting there. He's about 50 CS up on top of Irelia, and he's just very happily pushing this one out. Trundle had a bit of a great escape there, didn't he? He got in there, he got the dragon. Oh no, Lulu. Just run! There you go. Just use your ultimate? Oh, what? I don't know how Lulu got that. Does she have red buff or something? So the Lulu actually gets a solo kill onto the LeBlanc, who went super greedy there. Oh, Ezreal, you want to save your E because... Oh! A good flash from the Blitzcrank. But a Super Mega Death Rocket going to take him down to an inch of health. Oh, don't turn around to Q. The Jinx secures it with her W. So silly. The Iranian Soul makes no attempt to try and dodge out on that, and now his Q is really in the complete wrong direction. Gets the stun on, but Nidalee is just going to chase this down. She's coming under the tower. The barrier, and the Zhonya's. Oh no, Nidalee! Oh, that chase. Why does she do so little damage? Oh, I can't believe. It's because Aurelion Soul's got magic resist and not Needlessly Large Rod of Ages. Makes sense. Jeez, it's just too tunnel. She's not really thinking about. She's not looking at the items or the facilities that Aurelion Soul has in his backpack. Not thinking about it. Talking about the ninja tabbies on Irelia, the reason they're bad is because there's loads of magic damage and CC on the red team. So having all that armor that reduces... Oh, Irelia trying to make a play, but it's not going to happen. Off to his top side. You've got Trundle making another great escape. I think he might even have managed it. He has, but now Aurelion Soul's gone too far forwards. He might be in trouble. A flash stun comes out from Renekton. LeBlanc now Wing forwards. She hits the chains. Ezreal ease away. And that's going to be a disengage. Although Trundle may want something here. No. LeBlanc makes the right move in backing out immediately after seeing him. Man, our FPS is really tanking, huh? Diddly trying to take the red buff. Trundle will have that. He says, thank you very much. Give me some of that. Oh my god, she fails the jump. Trundle very happily will munch down on some cat tonight. I can't believe this. This Trundle is very strong right now. He's got to be careful though, because that is Blitzcrank. That's half the enemy team. And that is him dropping down. The blue team not able to commit any further. This could be a good chase for the red team. If they just keep coming, no Aurelion Soul's there to secure some wave clear, but if Blitzcrank hooks the Aurelion Soul, and he does, that is now a big dragon. Lulu ult down. Every single ult on the blue team is down. On the red side, they still have a couple of tools. Blitzcrank's probably going to be fishing around for another hook, but I think the right move here for the red team is just to back it off. There's nothing really to be gained. Dragon's up in a second or two. In 50 seconds actually. You can see it on my timer down here on the right. This isn't a custom timer or anything, by the way. This is just in-game stuff. Oops. Hey. Sorry, I was just fiddling around with something. Right, Aurelion Soul's in massive trouble here. He's been completely caught out and he's punished for it. Rightly. Just Steve doing Just Steve things. Takes down Zeus himself, the Thunder God. Don't know why I phrased it all like that. Oh, well, Lulu steps forward. She's now dead as well, walking into darkness. There you go. Blitzcrank will happily say, come right here. I'll give you my rocket grab. I'm not sure if they can actually do that again. But LeBlanc doesn't have that much mana. Just a bit of a disaster here for blue team now. Especially because it looks like the Trundle's got an angry and just left. That's actually the red team's first dragon. Oh, that's a good E from the Ezreal, but I think he might be dead anyway. LeBlanc's dropped the ignite. One more W will do it, but she hasn't got that much mana. I think she's dead. Yep, the final turret shot comes through. Good play there from the Ezreal. Now Aurelia's on the run from the Renekton. The reconnect from Trundle. That's good because Trundle's by far the most powerful member on the blue side. Aurelian Soul trying to make something happen here, but Hook hits. She might be in some trouble now. Jinx trying to push it forward, but Aurelian Soul's pretty tanky. And Blitzcrank hasn't got any more mana left. A lot of things come out. The red team don't want Jinx and Blitzcrank making that play, and they will happily leave after having that information relayed to them. 5,000 gold lead at 20 minutes to the red team right now. It actually isn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Early on, in about 10 minutes, it was about a 3k lead, so that's only expanded by another 2,000. I know I'm saying only 2,000 at 20 minutes, but it's important to note that the bleeding is being stymied significantly. And that, particularly through this Trundle, a lot of pressure has been made on this map for the blue team. Well, this is a teleport in. I've got to assume it's from Renekton. The stun does not land. It was thinning late. That's a blue finally secured by the... Oh my god, that's actually a very good stun from the Irelia. They're going to punish Nidalee for taking the blue. Ezreal takes it up. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Herald was dropped, went into the tower, but no tower actually taken. Trundle now starting off the Baron. I would stop that one right now. Seems like Trundle might agree. Oh, but he gets hooked in by the Blitzcrank. He is completely dead. That's through the Lulu ult. That's a good Ezreal ult. Does a lot of damage. If Irelia is actually able to Q anyone, she might do quite a bit. But she doesn't get the reset. The Super Mega Death Rocket picks off the Jinx. Red team just try and disengage on this one. No. There's a LeBlanc on almost full health trying to do her work. Ezreal ease forwards. He needs to keep going on this. But he decides to pull backwards. And now we've got Aurelian Soul just very slowly floating forwards. They can't just let Mr. Blanc keep getting away with what she's doing, by the way. It's borderline illegal. Oh, Nidalee comes forwards. A very late flash backwards from Aurelian Soul. Nidalee now flashes away. Aurelian Soul drops down to the Jinx. That was the Jinx W. The zap. Yeah, just mechanical misplay from the blue team there. Just kind of chasing a bit too far and not really picking on the targets that they should have done. Like, you had an Ezreal and a Blitzcrank both on pretty low health, and they just focused onto the LeBlanc. LeBlanc is continuously going to have a W available, by the way. Unless you get some hard CC on her, it's going to be very, very difficult to pick her off. I mean, what hard CC do we have outside of a stun from Aurelian Soul? This is a good hook, by the way, onto the Aurelia. Aurelia drops down to a Renekton, and now the rest of the red team starts coming in. The Aurelia comes down. This is going to be a chase on from the Jinx. Super Mega Death Rocket just goes wide, so does the Spear. Meanwhile, Trundle tending to a Baron, trying to make sure they have no vision for some reason. Ezreal does hit his True Shot Barrage. That will kill Nidalee. Aurelian Soul trying to put some wave clear onto the mid lane, but if Blitzcrank just hooks him, which he may well do in a second, then this could be a Aurelian Soul with some problems. The hook went wide. It's worth noting that Aurelia still hasn't come back from that disconnect a couple of seconds ago. Trundle trying to clear out a couple, but he hasn't got any wave clear, and he's caught out, and that's a good punish by the LeBlanc and the Jinx both. One or two onto the tower just to teach it a lesson. Aurelian Soul is very tanky, but he isn't very strong, as might be occurring to you. Saying that, Jinx is actually on extremely low health. Oh, but the LeBlanc comes in, she's got the first, down goes Aurelian Soul, down goes LeBlanc as well to the Ezreal. Lulu goes down to Blitzcrank, and now Ezreal is chasing on by himself. He decides to pull back a little bit, the appearance of Jinx again. Whilst Renekton is just hammering away at this bot tier 2 tower. And you've got to think that this is a problem. This is a problem for the blue team all the way. They seem to have lost a member for the moment. They weren't doing... I mean, they were doing fine before, but there were a lot of mechanical missteps that weren't really helping them out. And And now the red team's in a good position to just start expanding on this one. They're going to get their second dragon. It is Fire Soul this game. The really shining light, as I've already said, on the blue team is Trundle. But the Trundle hasn't got much wave clear. He's rushed a Triforce. He's a somewhat more aggressive Trundle. He's not going to have the survivability you probably want. Aurelion Sol coming over the late stun, trying to really get out of Dragon still. Aurelion Sol is hooked. There's no respect for this Blitzcrank, but there's a lot of members around. For the blue team, this could be favourable, but there's obviously no top laner. But uh-oh, everyone else has arrived. Now the dominoes start to fall, and the red team just runs through the blue. A missed spear onto the Trundle shouldn't matter too much. But we might get a Nidalee here. Yep, he will do. He might even start hammering away on a Blitzcrank. He now has to run for his life. He brings him over to Jinx. Jinx will make sure that everything is nice and settled for that one. And now they'll all run to mid to try and push out the inhibitor and potentially try and go to finish the game. No, the blue team surrendered. I didn't know that because they didn't have the chat on and because the camera didn't move. I think they probably surrendered because 1, the game had run away from them, and 2, the Irelia had left. Oh, short game. 25 minutes, I think, in all. 25 and a half minutes. Some key takeaways in this game. Mr. Blanc got very out of hand after a while. That matchup that I talked about early on, where Aurelion Sol is able to push out the wave, but LeBlanc has a lot of kill pressure, especially before Aurelion Sol starts hitting his items. LeBlanc recognized it, and she capitalized it on it as well. The Aurelion Sol clearly knew it was a possibility. He took the barrier, but he didn't play with that in mind. So a lot of times when LeBlanc decided, hey, I'd like some dragon on my plate, and I'm going to munch you up, the Star Dragon just had to take it because he put himself in a bad position for it. The bot lane for the blue team, eventually the Ezreal would have scaled up, but they got quite... It's a pretty safe bot lane, you know. The opportunity for Jinx and Blitzcrank to get a pick is on the Lulu. But, and don't get me wrong, Lulu did die a couple, but that's a lane that shouldn't really put itself into danger too often, and yeah, they found themselves constantly in some pretty bad situations. Pretty clear to me there was some mechanical misplay, at least from the Irelia onto the Renekton. For anyone who's thinking of picking up Irelia, Irelia's strength is her constantly being able to reproc her Blade Surge, her Q ability. And in order to do that, you have to hit your E or your R, both of which apply they apply marks, which when you Q to them, the marks are taken up. But with, you can Blade Surge to them, and your Blade Surge will instantly come off cooldown again. What that means is you can cast more abilities on people. And when you can cast more abilities on people, that adds stacks to your passive. Now your passive gives you attack speed and extra damage, which I think is true damage. So it's really beneficial for you to get those stacks up. This works on minions as well. Then go in on someone you hit the stun and just really punish them. And if they try and trade on you, chances are you're actually going to beat them, at least early on. Renekton, of course, is a lot more of a bully, and it's got a bit more tankiness than your conventional top laner, but it's still the same principle. And if you really need to, Irelia can be pretty mobile, so you can just weave in and out of attack patterns. But you have to use your E or R first before queuing. And in this, often I'd see the Irelia would queue in and then bring in the E for the stun, and yeah, it might lead to an easier stun, but you're not going to have as much damage as you should do. That's the problem. I think I was saying, but the one light on the blue side was the Trundle, but the Trundle seemed far more concerned with farming and actually helping out his lanes. He did come in for the odd cleanup once or twice, but he was never really there to try and counteract the game from Nidalee or to make one happen himself. So yeah, that was a team that just clearly wasn't really on the right page. It was a team that wanted to scale. Aurelion Sol very well into the later parts of the game, so does Ezreal. But it just didn't have the tools to get there. And when the red team got a couple of kills underneath them on the LeBlanc, on the Jinx, and Renekton was able to 1v1 the Irelia, the game was completely out of their hands. Well, okay. Thank you for joining me for this cast. Hopefully it was enjoyable. I'm always trying to improve, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.